first time on the new PBA Windsurfing World Tour, you'll join the top windsurfing stars on Earth for the biggest events, the best action, and the most exotic locations in the world. We start with the 1991 Maui O'Neill Maui Grand Slam at Ho'okipa Beach in Hawaii for this $150,000 event. Straight into the action with the men's slalom, and it's world champion Bjorn Dunkerbeck in the lead, with Phil McGain and Robbie Nash in hot pursuit. Dunkerbeck punches his way through the surf and starts the event with the first victory, despite the efforts of Bringdown. Jessica Crisp comes through in the women's slalom, even behind Jutta Muller in second position. But then the scenery changes as the event moves to Kanaha Beach Park for the first time ever, and a series of tough course races set way out to sea. The men start line as the 64 racers begin their 30-minute, 2-lap journey around the course. Straight into the lead is Dunkerbeck again, the fastest man on the course. Although Torkel Christensen, Robbie Nash and Patrice Belbioch are all chasing hard. But with his incredible speed on the reaches, no one can catch Dunkerbeck as he sweeps through to win 6 from 7 races in this discipline. Jutta Muller from Germany is also fast in the women's section and pressurising for first position, though not fast enough to catch the small but determined figure of Jessica Crisp, as the Aussie wins the course racing overall. So the big question was whether Dunkerbeck and Crisp could make a clean sweep as the event moved into the last discipline of wave performance, the one that everyone was waiting for. A double elimination knockout event. The first final saw 2 Aussies head-to-head for brilliant performances, with Mark Pedersen KA6 and hotshot Jason Pollokow KA1111 trying for everything. Pollokow took the honours in the first final and now had to wait and see who'd come through the loser's side to face him. Bjorn Dunkerbeck and of course Robbie Nash were the favourites as the big waves powered through. With massive back loops like this, Dunkerbeck charged back through the loser's side but came to a halt in the later rounds against Nash, even with his brilliant wave riding. So it was Mark Pedersen who next faced Nash, who was sailing like the old master he is. No one could stop his incredible run as a pumped-up Nash rode through everything and everyone. Now he was into the main final and facing newcomer Pollokow after 6 tough heats in one day. Robbie was ripping, but Jason's jumping was superb, and with his electric whiplash style, which was the talk of the beach, the young Aussie got the vote over Nash.
He's a very good sailor for sure, and it's good to see somebody new doing well, especially somebody young, having fun. It's good. We always need new people that do well.
I'm really happy that I was the first, non-Hawaiian to win the O'Neill. You know, no one's ever done it before, and I'm just so happy that, you know, I was able to do it. You know, any one of the top 5 guys have got a chance to win. It's just who's really the best on the day. You know, who can get the right waves at the right time. So on that particular 2 days, I had the luck on both days. So I'm really stoked that I won.
Overall victory to Dunkerbeck, with Nash second and Christensen third, while Jessica Crisp scores her first Grand Slam victory, Muller second and Siebel third. Next up is the biggest event of the year at Omazaki in Japan, with $180,000 and straight into the men's slalom in more than 30 knots of wind. Bringdale and Dunkerbeck are the top 2 again, but Dunkerbeck winning after a mistake by Anders to continue his good form. The wind keeps pumping and the action moves on with course racing. Fabian Pendle won a race, Bringdale won a race, but Dunkerbeck was ever present again to take discipline 2 here in Japan. Jutta Muller wins women's course racing on borrowed sails, taking 3 races from 4 and now heading up the women's overall ranking list. Big wins up to 45 knots for the wave performance. Dunkerbeck loving these rough conditions and taking his 3rd victory here to give him a clean sweep in all 3 disciplines, the first time at a Grand Slam. While Phil McGain from Australia takes 2nd in the waves. Aruba, one happy island and one windy place in the Caribbean. 7 rounds of slalom, lots of incidents, falls and spills, but the attention on the battle between Dunkerbeck and Bringdale once more. With strong but gusty winds, the days were long and tiring, the water's choppy and the racing fast. Bringdale wins 2 finals, but Dunkerbeck has the edge with 3 so far. Bjorn nails top prize with his 4th final victory in the Series 6, with chaos behind him. Nash surprisingly sliding home for 2nd over Anders after yet another mistake from the tall Swede. Jutta Muller and Britt Dunkerbeck have a battle rejoined again, but a back-to-form Britt just powered past the tour leader to win an amazing 5 finals. Barbara Kendall from New Zealand taking 3rd place, but Britt and Jutta way out in front at the top. Now for something completely different, obstacle slalom.
I've been trying to get us to do this for ages in flat water. I mean, not necessarily this, but something like it, because it just makes things more interesting and it brings some board handling into the type of conditions that are usually only pure speed, you know, equipment-oriented racing, and I think it'll be great.
Here is the goal.
And now we meet Tiga board shaper Hugues de Turkheim and his remarkable fins.
The four qualities of a fin are to be fast, there to be no drag, to have a very easy jibe, to stabilize the board, not to allow the board to lift up too much in the air, and not to spin out. And actually with this technology you allow us to have a very, very high ratio fin, still being very, very, very stiff. We really improve those four qualities a big step ahead. So the first fin we made with this material, which is full unidirectional fiber compressed in a mold, highly compressed in a mold, we make them to have exactly the same stiffness that a traditional glass fin, of course, is. But when you can see them together, it's pretty easy to imagine the difference of the draft. And it's an incredible sensation to trust so much in your fin that you can pull on the board with something with a comfort that you never reached before. And you can really concentrate on the sail only and forget everything about the board. No more spin out at all, that's guaranteed.
Still too short course.
And next, on a round Aruba race of over 50 miles.
About 3 hours, probably. 2.5, 3 hours.
No, maybe this kind of race we do like 3, maybe 4 hours if we are lucky.
It's 50 miles, it takes a good while anyhow.
We have a lot of upwind though and broad reaching, so there'll be tactics in there as well.
Off the start, it's everyone together, with a support fleet of 25 boats, 2 planes and a helicopter for safety in the rough seas. Out the back of the island, the swells are big and demanding. Torkel Christensen from Denmark blasts through, chasing the tails of Robert Tarifa, who started last, and Dunkerbeck, who's already out in front. 12 invited racers started, and only 3 failed to finish. Dunkerbeck finished in a surprisingly fast time of 3 hours 13 minutes to set a new record time. Would he be able to beat it next year? Curacao was next on the Caribbean tour, but sorry, the images provided of Anders Bringdahl winning from Tarifa and Rasmussen and of Jutta Muller defeating Britt Dunkerbeck weren't great quality. So, a quick visit to Cabarete in the Dominican Republic and a warm local welcome to the tour.
World Cup 1991. I want to give
4 slalom races with Italy's Paolo Risto, I-222, winning 3 men's finals, and Jutta Muller fighting off Jessica Crisp for the Cabarete title in the women's races. Out of the Caribbean and to the stark contrast of Honolulu for a return to one of the most famous spots in windsurfing, Diamond Head Beach. It had been 5 years since the tour had visited one of the birthplaces of wave sailing, so it was a very welcome and historic return for a $100,000 port tack wave jumping contest at Robin Ash's home break.
Well, Diamond Head is sort of my home break. I grew up sailing in Kailua, and we started sailing Diamond Head in about 1979 on 12-foot boards. And in about 1982, early 1983, we started making the short boards and really developing the wave riding. I think I perform here better than I do just about anywhere else because of the hours that I've got in at this location.
Britt Dunkerbeck and Angela Cochran get to go for the finals in great Diamond Head conditions. Angela keeping on with her challenge for the wave title this year and eventually taking the honours. And Pete Cabrino was on great form at his home spot too, getting through to the semi-finals but losing to Rush Randall. While Brian Talma from Barbados was enjoying these starboard riding waves just like his own home island. But what of Robbie Nash? He lost to youngster Josh Stone in a real surprise, leaving the final round as a Randall Dunkerbeck encounter.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out and try and kick ass.
I figured to meet Robbie in the final, if anybody, you know. So I'd rather say against Rush than against Robbie.
Right on the start gun, Randall picks up a wave as Dunkerbeck back loops. Good-sized waves at Diamond Head for the final. Randall rides, as Bjorn's jumping is outstanding, although Randall is trying everything. Randall goes for one last ride, as Dunkerbeck picks the wave of the day and clinches the win with this spectacular jump. Now here's the man and some of his gear.
Well, these are some of the boards you carry around for World Cup racing. The reason why I have so many boards is because you never know what the conditions are going to be like at different places in the world. You carry it like for course racing, you carry like 2 or 3 course race boards around, one for light wind, one for medium wind, and one for strong wind. The same thing for slalom. You have like more boards because there's more variety in conditions, because it could be really light conditions, it could be really strong conditions. So for slalom, I usually carry around like 5 or 6, depending on the importance of the event. And the same thing is for wave riding. Depending on the place, you use anything between 3 and 5 boards for the event. For basic content, you just need like about 13, 14 boards for running on conditions. You always try to improve the board so you get better and better all the time. And the same thing is with the sails. You have anything from 3.5 to 6.5 for slalom and course racing, and you have from 3.5 to like 5.5 every half meter step for wave riding. So it makes a total maybe of 23, 24 sails. You have basically one mast and one boom for one sail. So it makes a total of about 20 rigs you have together in the Grand Slam. And fins, the same thing. You have about 14 boards. You have at least, not necessarily a fin per board, but you have about 15 fins, 20 fins too, depending for conditions. In light wind, you use a big fin. In strong winds, you use a lot smaller fins. And the same thing is for waves. Just trying to optimize the equipment for the conditions that make you be a better sailor. If you want to win, you have to carry it around. I would say about 400 kilos of excess baggage. You get used to it, and everybody else says it's a lot, but we all travel with it, all the top guys anyways. And it's just what it takes to win world tours for the knee.
Indeed it does. But what about speed, Bjorn? After Hawaii and a fast visit to the gorge, it was back to the southern tip of Europe and to the Straits of Gibraltar for speed and slalom at Tarifa, and the wind was howling between the continents. Valerie Gibaudot wins 5 from 5 women's slalom finals. Then the men have non-stop action through their heats. Watch Dunkerbeck in at the start with sail number E11. His tremendous speed catches Christensen's sail D40. But then Rafael Sals pushes him up, higher, and back. But no matter who gets in his way or where he starts, it's superb lay-down jibes like this one coming up that help put him into the lead by the end of the race. And he too won all 5 slalom finals held. Now onto the speed section with a camera and computer-controlled 500-meter course for split-second accurate timing. France's Babette Coquel streaked down the course flat out and set a new women's world record speed of 39.7 knots or 73.52 kilometers per hour. Then it was the Dunkerbeck machine's turn. Fresh in from Hawaii with no speed training, just one specially made board, and using his standard slalom racing sails. Incredible speed, totally committed, and just flying. As he hits the finish line, he loses it and wipes out in a ball of spray. But what a run! As he checks the scoreboard, he sees 43.34 knots, the fastest speed ever on open water, and the second fastest run in history. A magical moment in windsurfing. Jochen Kraut from Germany smashes the old German national record, setting the new standard at 41.39, and hammers his way into the top rankings in the Speed World Championship with his continued good form. But the former world record holder and experienced speed sailor Pascal Macca from France has the most consistent results this season so far and sits at the top of the ranking still. The fourth Grand Slam event of the year, the Tenerife Peter Stuyvesant Travel World Cup in the Canary Islands. Men's slalom again pitches the top two in the world together, Dunkerbeck and Bringdahl. Going into slalom final two, after Pendel's dramatic win in the first final, Bringdahl has a narrow lead going into the first jibe. Bringdahl has the racing line and jibes fast, Dunkerbeck right behind, then Hargreaves, Seeger, Pedersen and Tarifa. Bringdahl's holding the lead down through the jibes and nearly falls. Look at his back leg coming out of the straps. He jibes very wide and Dunkerbeck closes the gap immediately. But Anders recovers his speed and he's gone again. Just one more jibe and 5-second lead. It's all over for Bjorn now with one more leg to go. But all eyes are on Bringdahl as he hits a wave and incredibly bounces out. He hands it to Bjorn, and probably the slalom championship with it.
I didn't think things like that could happen at our level. My mistakes this year is as long as my arm. I mean, it's unbelievable. And excuse me for using the language, but I've been screwing it up properly.
Following on from her speed record in Tarifa, Babette Coquel has a tremendous slalom run now. But it's chaos as Jessica Crisp crashes into the leader and everyone falls. Coquel recovers quickest. But then she falls again. And Britt Dunkerbeck goes round the outside. Incredibly quickly, Coquel recovers, catches up and speeds away. But then Britt's straight line slalom speed comes in as she powers over the top of the Frenchwoman to win. Now to course racing out in choppy seas and strong winds off the start. Dunkerbeck is leading already by the top mark, with Bringdahl in pursuit. Both of them playing their usual cat and mouse game. Bringdahl won one race by 28 seconds, but Dunkerbeck was unstoppable in the rest, with Christensen, Tarifa and Nash keeping up with the pace at the top. Jessica Crisp continued her amazing run in Grand Slams, with 2 from 3 course race wins over Muller, while Natalie Siebel won her first course race ever for 3rd place. Now into wave performance. Not many waves, but plenty of wind. Natalie Siebel meets Jutta Muller in a unique all-German wave final. Both girls pulling out the works. And with Siebel making her first forward roll. The men's wave competition was higher and faster. Dunkerbeck loving these windy conditions. but Nash sailing with his usual brilliance. An amazing back loop from Nash. A forward roll from Dunkerbeck. Duck jibe Nash. Forward coming in from Bjorn. High forward from Nash outside as Bjorn gets points for sail tricks on his ride. Tabletop from Robbie, but he crashes on landing. Then the most incredible height for Dunkerbeck to take the title here and his second three-discipline success. Gran Canaria World Cup. Spectacular scenery, spectacular jumping. Jessica Crisp goes against Britt Dunkerbeck at home in the women's final of this $50,000 wave contest. Britt expected to walk it in front of her home crowds. Not so. Jessica impresses the judges with her all-out style and dramatically takes the title from Britt. And now it's into the men's section. And it's Rush Randall versus Bjorn Dunkerbeck again in the final. Bjorn beat Rush in Hawaii, and the Hawaiian just couldn't get revenge on Dunkerbeck at home. But there was plenty of great jumping for everyone.
This is my first wave final I've ever been in, so I was very happy to be in it. So maybe I was like hyperactive when I first went out, and then after that I was having a few troubles getting my clue caught in the water. So I thought I sailed all right. I tried a loop and I'm very happy about that.
The last of the Canary Islands tour and the Speed World Championship finals at Sotavento in Fuerteventura. Record crowds, but no record speeds in the choppy waters. Jochen Krauth again sails well and wins Sotavento with his high daily speeds, holding second place for the year. But Pascal Macca is still tops for the championship.
If we design very efficient sail, very easy sail to control, one day we could go 100 kilometers per hour.
Slalom is also held here. Dunkerbeck not featuring in speed this time, but demonstrating excellent jibing technique as usual. Britain's Nick Baker was to come second, and Eric Thiem from France was third. And France's Nathalie Sinon won the women's slalom. But as expected, Babette Coquelle swept to victory on the women's speed ranking list. the French girl Sylvie Renard won Sotavento outright, putting her second overall for the year.
You know, the most important in speed sailing is to have the right board, the right curve, a very light board like this one, which is 4 kilos, and a board which is very stiff and has a good strength to sail on the water. So you know, the shape of the bottom of a speedboard is similar to a water ski. You have a single concave with flat on the rail to get good stability, and becoming double concave at the tail with flatness, and then you have a very good control in high speed. You know, for speed sailing, basically I'm using 6 boards. I have 3 boards to sail on the sea with different rockers, and I have also 3 boards, like one of this one. This one is the smallest I have to use on the speed canal because the canal is very flat, so you need a very long rocker and a very low nose. And this is a special boat for canal, and this one is very efficient on the sea because you have more rough, more chop to go, and it's very easy to control. That's the 2 different kinds of boats I have.
The westernmost tip of Europe, Guincho in Portugal. Perfect for waves and perfect for spectators. Giant jumping, but problems too for Italian wave dynamo Cesare Cantagalli, as he shreds his ankle instead of the waves in the final. It's a seriously twisted ankle which is to keep him out of competition for many weeks. French star Patrice Belbioch, sail number F81, is flying high, and perhaps deserved the win anyway with his spectacular forward rolls. Third place goes to Nigel Howell from Britain, and fourth to Torkel Christensen from Denmark. Now the tour moves on to the tiny and exclusive island of Sylt in northern Germany for the 8th successive year. Cold but windy weather was the welcome in late September. Slalom demanded precise launching in the powerful shore break through all 3 series. Dunkerbeck held on in the strong winds and big swells to win all 3 finals, with Bringdahl second once again. German girls Natalie Siebel and Jutta Müller fought out the women's slalom at home, and Siebel got the edge through their 3 finals. As the wind steadied down to 35 knots, the waves got bigger still. And this set the scene for the wave contest. Straight into it, and Bernd Flessner's forever jump. Dunkerbeck was in great form and made the final facing Nash. Both were tired after a long day of wave sailing and both out for the kill. The crucial and deciding moment in the final was a monster wipeout for Dunkerbeck. Wrong place, wrong time, and nothing he could do but swim. Nash jibes round him and walks away with the wave title in Sylt. Natalie Siebel beat Herma de Jong in the women's final to take victory in both disciplines as Dunkerbeck savoured his slalom triumph, rounding off another spectacular German contest.
you give me a lift to the New West?
It's a state of mind in the state of LA. A palm tree sways to a retro band. Mangoes fall in the palm of your hand. Where doers flock and dreamers win. Where now is all and tomorrow will begin.
New West, a fragrance for men created by Aramis, Los Angeles, California.
And bitter conditions round off the European leg of the tour at the Scheveningen Pro World Cup in Holland, where Robert Tarifa wins the course racing and Bernd Flessner another men's wave final. Across the world now to the beautiful island of Maui for the PBA World Tour Finals, with the Peter Stuyvesant Travel Aloha Classic at Ho'okipa Beach Park. Everything hinges on the results here, with Germany's Jutta Müller leading the women's ranking overall, as well as slalom and course racing disciplines. But Britt Dunkerbeck looks to have recovered from her ankle injury. She's in second place and capable of winning again with her powerful sailing. Australia's Jessica Crisp is third overall after a tremendous season and chasing hard for slalom and course titles. And she's dangerous in waves too. But Maui's own Angela Cochran is determined to recapture the coveted wave crown from Natalie Siebel. And sailing at her home break, she was looking confident. 3 times world champion Bjorn Dunkerbeck set to make it 4 times PBA world champion, already assured of the course race world title, but slalom and wave are still very open. Robbie Nash is second overall and gunning for that wave title. He badly wants to defeat Dunkerbeck for the wave crown he's won so many times already. Anders Bringdahl still has the chance to steal the slalom world championship from Dunkerbeck, with the last crucial rounds set to decide their year-long drama and rivalry. Course racing off Ho'okipa is always a strange sight, but with 4 races in minimal conditions, Bringdahl won the first with his tactical ability. Then Dunkerbeck came right back to win the next 3. And that Great Dane Torkel Christensen did enough to take second position overall for the year behind Dunkerbeck for his finest finish ever. The women's course racing was much closer. Müller struggled to finish third here, as Britt Dunkerbeck won the Battle of Maui, taking first place with Barbara Kendall second, but she lost the war to Müller, as a delighted Jutta did just enough to secure her first ever PBA World Championship title. The women's slalom was a tense affair. Müller was leading overall. Britt had to win, and Crisp had an outside shot if she won. At first the final was tight, as Britt and Jutta were neck and neck. Then Britt turned up the power and went away to win, marginally outpointing Jutta to the slalom world title.
I guess I lost my overall title for the year because I missed out on a couple of contests this year because of my injury. I made it up to second place, scratching on first one, didn't quite make it. But I think I'm happy with what I've done this year, how far I got with a bad foot like this. And I got world champion in slalom, at least it's something.
The deciding men's slalom final, and everything to win or lose. Dunkerbeck or Bringdahl could take it, the pressure enormous on both. Bjorn delivered the magic when he needed, leading into the first mark with Anders buried on the start line and history. His dream was shattered for another year, Bjorn cruising home to another world title. Bringdahl second again, Tarifa Howe third and Nash fourth. Big Sunday. Wave contest, the finals. Jessica Crisp made the semi-finals but lost to Angela Cochran. And Britt Dunkerbeck sailed well but lost out to German dynamo Natalie Siebel. Sybil Cochrane final again, the top 2 women's wave sailors in the world. It was down to the last 8-minute heat to decide the championship title. Whose nerve would hold best? Twice the final was abandoned through light winds, but Angela carved and slashed the waves she knows so well as Sybil went for high jumps. Angela hangs 5. Turns, and then out jumps Sybil's forward roll with a cheese roll.
Okay, looking at the judges' decision, a split decision.
And everyone knows it's going to be a close decision.
Split decision, and winning the wave performance title of the Aloha Classic, sponsored by Peter Stuyvesant Travel, is Angela Cochrane. 3-2 split decision. She wins the 8-minute women's final. Congratulations going to Angela Cochrane.
All right, Anne.
Conditions were nice. They were perfect girl conditions. You know, the waves were small enough that we could do stuff still and hit the lip, and we weren't chicken or anything. I thought Natalie was sailing really well. I mean, I could just see glimpses, and you know, when you're out there, anything you see from behind the wave, you always think, oh my gosh, they've just done this radical thing. So, you know, I thought I lost.
But 5th in waves gives Jutta Müller the overall world title.
I was pretty nervous the last days, and I didn't sleep that well the last night, because I was still leading till the last day. It was up to the last minute, and well, it's okay, you know. Sometimes I thought, okay, I might win, and then the next day I thought, oh, it's bad anyway, I'm gonna lose for sure, and it was just up and down.
Now the focus was men's waves, as white walls of water thundered in. German star Robbie Seeger shocked everyone by defeating Dunkerbeck at quarter-final stage, throwing the wave title wide open, then faced Jason Polikow in the semi-final. But it was abandoned through light winds, just when Polikow looks beaten and out.
I was planning on 197 pounds. It's 92 kilos, so if a 92 kilo person planes with a 5.0 sail with an 8.7 board, I mean, that's regular physics, you know. It's got to be at least 50 knots out there.
The rematch next day saw another close heat between them. Polikow desperate to advance to the final and sailing brilliantly again. But this time it was Seeger who thought the winds were too light.
And yesterday, from the wind strength, the rules have to be changed or made more specific, because right now there are people making decisions who are just like in one day in one mood, next day in another mood. You know?
Polikow advanced to the final to meet Robbie Nash after his victory over Kalama in the semi-final. With Dunkerbeck out, whoever won the next 8-minute heat would also claim the World Wave Championship. They matched jump for jump, ride for ride, the atmosphere electric on the beach. Robbie gets a classic floating wave ride with re-entries. As Polikow pulls his famous one-handed forward roll perfectly. It's close, but the judges go for Robbie on the day. As Nash does it again and reclaims the title of Wave Maestro for one more year. With the championship decided, the chance to reflect and replay the crucial moves.
Actually, this day wasn't that big. The occasional set would come through that was pretty good size. And what we were basically thinking about is just trying to do something with the wave. Because of the swell direction, pushing all the water from the lane and that whole side of the bay right out through the break at Ho'okipa, so that most of the waves were really bumpy. And it made it so 1 out of 3 waves was a nice ride, and the rest you were sort of playing mogul avoidance, you know, trying not to get airborne on your bottom turns. And it was actually kind of hard to work with it to do really nice moves. But once in a while they'd pull through and you get a smooth one. There's really no set routine. you know, in big waves or in small waves. Especially when it's big, you're pretty much playing with what you have. Small waves you can really work with a lot more. You know, if you have a bad wave, you can kick out, you can catch the next one, etc. But when it's big, you're having to commit to catch your wave so far out that whether it's a good one or a bad one, you're stuck with it. And you really couldn't tell until you got committed and inside on it if it was going to be a good lineup or a closeout. And that's what you saw a lot of the guys during the competition get a wave, and it would be a one turn off the lip and then go straight because the rest of the wave closed out into the channel. And unfortunately, there was no way to tell if it was going to be a closeout or a good wave. You know, it was just up to chance.
Despite losing the waves, Dunkerbeck is still overall world champion again.
I've been close to winning it for a long time actually this year. I've been pretty far ahead in the point-wise compared to the others. So it was kind of nice to win the first time. I tried to go for 5th and 6th, that's for sure. And there's no point in getting 2nd. Once you won once, you want to win 2 times. If you win 2 times, you want to win a 3rd time. If you win 3 times, you don't want to get 2nd ever again. I know there's going to be a stage where you're going to start losing, but I'm going to make sure it's going to last a long time before it happens.
Bad news for the rest of the pros as they now leave Hawaii and start the 1992 New West PBA Windsurfing World Tour with the simply gorgeous South Pacific setting of Noumea. Lots of wind and lots of slalom, with Manolo Barlet beating everyone at home to start off his year with victory. Anders Bringdahl takes 2nd place. Enjoys himself and continues to be regarded as one of the most professional racers on tour, with perhaps the most perfect jibe of anyone.
My whole idea, the philosophy behind my jibe is that I want to come into the jibe with full speed. And in the old days we always used to sheet out and brake a lot before we start turning, just like in car racing you have to brake before the turn. But if you didn't have to brake before the turn, you're obviously going to be faster. So that's the whole idea of why we started doing this, and what it ends up doing is that you come into the jibe, you put the sail down very low in the water, and you start putting a lot of pressure on the rail. And after that you basically turn around the jibe, you flick the sail up and you go out the other side. And the biggest trick with it is that you have to put the sail down but also forward. A lot of people, when they do it, they put it down and backwards, and then you end up bouncing a lot, and it doesn't make any sense at all really. So that's basically it. You just come in with full speed, you lean over, you try to get the rig as far forward as possible but down. So when you pass the apex of the jibe, you can pull it back up and switch your feet and flick the sail and go out the other side.
The tour now visited Cape Town in South Africa, the first time any PBA event had ever been staged here. The Golf GTI Grand Prix offered the prospect of some tremendous wave and slalom action in this dual discipline event. Winds were light for the first 4 days, but the event exploded into life as the Cape Doctor blew in at more than 35 knots. Denmark won the slalom, but only just from Germany's Bernd Flessner, who was in 2nd. And it was a great result, the 3rd for local hero Mike Cousins. And then, late in the day, it was time for the wave final, where Rupert von Sulingen was to try to outjump Cesare Cantagalli, sail number I-99. But the young Dutchman would be no match for Cesare's flawless Italian style. A tremendous inaugural event for South Africa.
Can you show me the way to the New West?
It's a state of mind in the state of LA. A mystic path and a glitter dream. Avant-garde and peach ice cream, where doers block and dreamers win, and tomorrow will begin.
New West, a fragrance for women created by Aramis, Los Angeles, California.
Across the world again, this time to the Caribbean, for the Barbados Windsurfing World Cup, presented by Oxbow Clothing. An unseasonal tropical storm breaks the weather pattern that's been plaguing the event all week. And as the next day breaks, the winds freshen. Finally, the event is underway. Andrea Hoppner from Germany goes against Stephanie Roche from France in the women's final. Hoppner reaching the wave final for the first time and claiming victory in the small waves. Bernd Flessner meets local favourite Brian Talma in the men's wave final. The big German powering his way through the heats with massive jumping skills. And he gets the vote over Talma this time.
I didn't sail that good, Bern didn't sail good, and Bern came out number one, and I'm very glad for Bern, and don't feel no way, and hopefully next year we'll have more action, and we'll be somewhere else on the tour having some more fun. Right, Bern? Don't think! Alright, Bern.
The whirlwind pace continues as the top professionals arrive in the south of France in February at Almenar. This is the Almenar Pierre Grand Prix, the first big meet of the new season. Light winds are to plague the contest, but there's plenty of tactical course racing to be followed. After the winter training and developing equipment, Britt Dunkerbeck is unstoppable in the two women's races, leaving behind Jessica Crisp and Jutta Müller. In the men's course race section, a fascinating battle develops between Torkel Christensen and Bjorn Dunkerbeck after this spectacular start. See the fleet splitting in every direction, trying to find the best wind. Dunkerbeck just has the edge over Patrice Belbioch here, then passes ahead of Christensen, while chaos reigns at the first mark behind him, as the battle for positions and points continues. French sailor Christophe Corday, sail number F0, get into all kinds of trouble right under the marker board, losing valuable places as he skillfully avoids all collisions. But only just. At the front of the fleet, over the two races, Christensen wins one and Dunkerbeck wins one, squaring them at the top, though the points don't count towards the championship with only two races completed. Palais d'Omnisport, Bercy, Paris. Indoor windsurfing is back with a bang at Bercy. The women's slalom final, Jutta Müller, Natalie Simon and Natalie Seabell. The smaller and lighter Seabell jives her way through to win overall after 3 nights of endurance racing. The men's finals, 5 laps of the figure 8 course, 25 knots close to those big industrial fans, and Robbie Nash, Roberto Litinow, and Manolo Barlet humping their way around the 18-metre long pool. Barlet also has the weight advantage, but everyone shows their skills in coping with these very difficult and demanding gusty winds. this racing is really all about. Now onto the jumping. Fearless Natalie Sibel copes best with the ramp. Charges down the pool in near darkness and also wins the women's jump contest overall. Crazy Robert Taritihau delights Paris with his flamboyant jumping. So he wins overall. So now just enjoy as the men give their all and more. Another indoor, another success. Just what do the paying public think of this presentation of windsurfing?
Mais ça a été très intéressant.
C'était d'enfer, il y a eu une bonne pêche.
Très bien, oui, c'était fantastique.
Là, t'es entré, j'ai plus de voix, c'était génial.
Super.
If the public enjoys it, it's a good show.
Motivation fills his eyes and blows through his hair. To hit the lip, he tries to try. Has no other care. No job, no wife, responsibility. All of this he hates. His passion drives him down the line. Like a Cabernet. Got no worries. He's possessed to sell. Possessed to sell. Possessed to sell.
Well, as Taritihau wrecks Paris, you can follow the tour to Maui again later this year. In the next new PBA World Tour video magazine, you can watch top stars on tour again. Will Bjorn Dunkerbeck win his 5th straight title? Will Robbie Nash hold on to the wave title 2 years running? Can Anders Bringdahl finally win the slalom title or even challenge Dunkerbeck overall? Will Robert Taritihau kill himself going for double loops this season? And can Christensen stop breaking everything he touches in Japan? And will Phil McGain make it back to the top? Those are just a few of the questions we'll be getting answers to this season, and there's questions to be answered in the women's division. Can Jutta Müller from Germany recover her championship winning form? Or is it Britt Dunkerbeck who's going to clean up the title this year? Or will Jessica Crisp realise her dream of winning a world title? And who will win the waves, Germany's Natalie Siebel or current champion Angela Cochran? All these answers and more in issue 3 of the new PBA Windsurfing World Tour video magazine that will take you right through to the closing minutes of the tour finals in Hawaii.